Hi, I'm Fredrik, Wendt from Sweden. I'm one of the stewards for the Scaled Professional Scrum class.
And I'm Ravi Verma from Dallas, Texas. I'm also a Scrum.org PST and a steward for the Scaled Professional Scrum class.
So Ravi, you say Scaled Professional Scrum. What do you mean when you say scaling or scale?
For me, scaling really means the sustainable, measurable scaling of business value. And Scaled Professional Scrum is a workshop that we hope will help our students achieve this goal.
So doesn't mean distributed or that we deliver to many countries or...
I mean, it may or may not. It depends on the context of the clients. There are teams, there are clients who may have, 3 to 10 Scrum teams that are all physically located in the same building, and there may be some which are spread across multiple continents. However, there are certain fundamental principles and values and maybe some complementary practices of scaling that may apply no matter what your unique context might be. And that's what we try to explore in the SPS workshop.
Okay, so this workshop, is it more like a workshop or is it a class course? Or what do you feel and expect from attending the SPS workshop?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So in the workshop, what we do is we use a case study that runs throughout the workshop, and we try to simulate some of the real world challenges that a company or a team might feel as it tries to scale, maybe from 1 team to 3 and maybe from 3 to 10. So what it feels like to be in the workshop is step by step, we raise the level of complexity and we introduce challenges that companies typically face when they are trying to scale. And then we give some practices, then we pause and we debrief, and hopefully we are helping our students develop the muscles that then they can go and employ in the real world as they solve real world scaling challenges.
So is there some kind of, you talked about practices, is there some kind of framework that you introduce in the class?
Absolutely. So the foundation of the underpinning, Scaled Scrum, we use a framework called Nexus, which is a very lightweight framework which builds on the fundamental Scrum framework. So Scaled Scrum is still Scrum. So we definitely introduce the Nexus framework. And in addition to the framework, we remind people about the fundamental principles and values. And then we introduce more than 50 complementary practices that people can start implementing the day after the class. And there are the most important practices. We actually help the students apply them in class in the simulated work setting, so that in a safe laboratory environment, they can have the luxury to fail, to learn, and they will be stronger when they get back to the real world.
So all of these practices and everything you teach and try to experience, who in your mind is the right people to attend a class like this?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. We want a student who realizes that scaling is a worthy adversary, that there are no cookie cutter recipes, right? So if you're looking for a cookie cutter recipe that you can take from the class and go and apply to your context and you're going to be magically successful, this may not be the right class. The right kind of student for this class is someone who appreciates that scaling is very complex and who is interested in a lightweight framework and a set of principles and guiding values and maybe some complementary practices that they can take back and do the heavy lifting and the hard work of making scaling work in their organization. So that's really the kind of student we want.
So if I attended your class, what outcomes should I expect?
You will be able to ask and answer some key questions. Why should we scale? Do we really need to scale? And are we scaling for the right reason? What is the reason? How will we know that scaling is effective? You will walk out of the class with an understanding of the Nexus framework, the roles, the events and activities, and the artifacts. And then you will also walk out of the class with some complementary practices and the experience of having applied those practices in a simulated case study. And you will receive the opportunity to validate your learning through the SPS assessment and a bunch of resources, complementary resources that you can refer to should you encounter a scaling challenge which was not covered in class.
Last question. If I'm not sure whether I want to attend this class, is there more material I can get that I can start reading up on it, to see if this sounds interesting and applicable to me?
Absolutely. I would recommend read the Nexus guide, because that
Right.
will give you an overview of the framework, see if it resonates with you or not. We also have on our What is Scaling page, we have some resources, we have some case studies, a quick start guide. What do you do if you want to start scaling tomorrow? Go through those resources. We also have a webinar where a former student of ours actually went to a large financial institution and was able to apply what she learned in class to scale, right? So there's a case study. And I feel that as you go through these resources, it's either going to pull you like a magnet to the class or it will repel you. Our job is just to give you the information you need to make an informed decision. And if this feels like a class that will help you solve your business problems, scale business value, come on over. We'd love to have you. Let's improve the profession of software delivery together.
Thank you.
Thank you.